The dust is settling in Munich, and honestly, the fan verdict is getting harsher by the day, not softer. People aren't moving on, Tio. They're doubling down.
Yesterday, we covered the immediate post-match fury, the Camavinga red card, the collapse at the end. Today, the fan base has had another 24 hours to think about it, and the conversation has shifted to something more uncomfortable. Was Mbappé actually the core problem this entire season?
And listen, this isn't just a fringe opinion anymore. One fan put it as bluntly as possible. Mbappé plays, and we don't win, he doesn't play, and everyone flies. 87 upvotes on that comment. That's the fan base speaking.
What's fascinating is the data fans are using to back this up. They're pointing to specific stretches of the season where Mbappé was out injured, and Madrid actually looked fluid. Vinicius driving everything, the team moving. And then, they're comparing it to the stodgy, disconnected performances when Mbappé is the focal point.
And someone even dug up a Luis Enrique quote. A fan wrote, "Without Vini and with Mbappé, they will never win a Champions League," as Luis Enrique himself said. Now, I don't know the exact context of that quote, but the fact that fans are citing the PSG coach as a prophet, madre mia.
There's also this angle that fans keep returning to about the PSG parallel. One comment that got real traction said, Mbappé left PSG and PSG won the Champions League. Madrid were winning the Champions League, and then Mbappé arrived and they stopped winning it. That is a brutal piece of narrative logic, whether you agree with it or not.
Brutal, but effective. And look, I'm not saying the fans are right on every point, but you cannot ignore that this is the overwhelming mood. The Marca fan poll is apparently pointing to Mbappé as the priority exit this summer. That's significant.
I'll push back slightly. One thing worth noting is that in Munich, in the 4-3, Mbappé actually scored. He had a goal, Vinicius assisted him. The collapse came after. The Luis Diaz goal at 89 minutes, the Olise header in the 94th. So the idea that Mbappé was invisible in both legs isn't entirely accurate. But the feeling fans have? That's real, and feelings drive these debates.
Right, but fans aren't just talking about Munich in isolation. They're talking about the whole season. The Champions League run, the La Liga title race, all of it. And the conclusion a large chunk of the fan base has reached is, this project doesn't work with Mbappé at the center. Vamos, the jury has delivered its verdict.
And Vinicius is being held up as the counterpoint. Multiple fans are framing it as the best football Madrid played this season happened when Vinicius was on the pitch and Mbappé was injured. That's the Vinicius vindication narrative, and it's gaining serious momentum in the comments.
Now let's talk about Arbeloa, because, que barbaridad, the fans are not letting him breathe either. There's a comment that absolutely floored me. Arbeloa is a phenomenon, madre mia, the things you have to hear. That's the tone. Disbelief. Like they can't believe this man is still the coach.
And then there's the more calculated fan take. Someone wrote that in their opinion, Arbeloa's days at Madrid are numbered, and the only reason he hasn't been sacked already is because it's not the most convenient moment right now. They're expecting the end of season acts.
Which, and this is the part that stings, some fans are actually hoping Arbeloa stays. Not because they like him, but because they want Madrid to fail more. One comment said, "Let Arbeloa stay, please. That way they'll go at least another year without winning anything." That's fans weaponizing the coach against the club. Vicious.
That's the dark humor of the deeply disillusioned supporter. When you're that frustrated, you start rooting for more pain just to prove a point. We've seen this cycle before at big clubs after a rough transition period.
And the Camavinga red card is still raw in this context. Arbeloa bringing him on, Camavinga getting a straight red in the 86th minute when Madrid needed everything. Fans haven't forgiven that substitution decision. It's become the symbol of everything wrong with the tactical management this season.
To be fair, Arda Güler also got a straight red in stoppage time. 2 players sent off in the same match, both substitutes and starters. When that happens, you can question individual decisions. But there's also a broader discipline question about how the squad is being managed emotionally. Fans aren't really engaging with that nuance, though. They want a head to roll.
Now, there's one other thing bubbling in the background today that I find genuinely interesting. A German newspaper apparently published a piece calling Real Madrid the worst losers in the world and attacking what they called the club's behavior after the defeat. And fans are kind of split on this.
It tracks with something we've seen in the comments. There's a group of fans who are embarrassed by the reaction, who think the club and some of its figures have come across badly in how they've handled this elimination. And then there's another group that sees any foreign criticism as confirmation that Madrid's enemies are piling on.
One comment that captured this whole chaotic moment perfectly, someone called a certain media exclusive a world scoop that nobody could have imagined, and then just put 4 crying laughing emojis. The level of cynicism among this fan base right now is extraordinary. They're mocking everything, the club, the media, each other.
That's what happens after a season like this. The defenses come down and the humor gets very dark. When fans are calling themselves favorite little clowns in the comments, self-deprecating in the plural, that tells you the collective mood is somewhere between grief and farce.
And yet, and this is the thing that keeps me from complete despair, the Youth League is happening. Real Madrid's Juvenile A are playing right now, and the PSG youth team is apparently talking tough beforehand. 28 goals, 11 scorers in their run. That's a different kind of energy, the future, maybe, while the present burns.
It's a bit of a palate cleanser. Fans who are exhausted by the Mbappé debate and the Arbeloa question can redirect their passion toward La Fabrica for a few days. Madrid is 4 days away from the Alaves match in La Liga. Tomorrow's episode, we'll start building toward that and see if the mood has shifted at all.
4 days to Alaves, La Liga still there, still going. Whether fans actually care about it right now is a whole other question, but we'll be here tomorrow morning to find out what the Madridistas are feeling. Hala Madrid, y hasta mañana.
We'll be back. The comments never stop, and neither do we.